Hello, good afternoon, everyone. And for those who are watching us on a different time zone, good morning or good evening. And of course, for the leader that I will interview today, it's good morning for her. And it's nice to be back. My name is Marilyn, for those who doesn't know me or first time watching us today. And I'm the CEO and founder of Customized Training Solutions, or CTS, and we are passionate about helping leaders and organizations who are continuous learners and action takers to transform and thrive in all aspects by co creating, contextualizing, and customizing programs with our world class resources. We have served over 3,000 leaders from over 30 countries in different industries, including Petronas, Sony Mobile, PruLife UK, Ayala Group, Tencent, Jollibee Foods Corporation, and Shell, to name a few. And the reason why we are doing this intervention, um, the different interventions actually that we have been organizing, including this interview, is to hopefully help leaders who don't know how to stay relevant and adapt in the next normal, those who find it stressful to lead and ensure performance of a hybrid team or setup, and those who are afraid that they can't keep their team or their business. So, to be able to stay relevant and continue to lead effectively in any situation, do join us in this conversation. So for today, it's my pleasure to introduce Mahima. She's Europe's number one self-mastery mentor, mindset trainer, international best-selling author, and award-winning speaker and founder of the Mahima Mindset. Mahima is the first Black self mastery mentor to have spoken at the Harvard Club of Boston in July 2018. And in 2017, she got to share the stage with Sir Richard Branson at a business development event in Singapore. She has also had the privilege to share the stage with other thought leaders like Les Brown, Kevin Harrington, Lisa Nichols, Vishen Lakhiani, and Kane and Alessia Minkus. Mahima has done over 10,000 hours of meditation practice and to date has helped transform the lives of over 19,241,000 people with her unique creation, the Inner Peace Formula, the Own Your Superstar multi award winning training. And since 1997, Mahima and her team have developed a world class personal growth academy, which evolved into what is today known as the Mahima Mindset. The Mahima Mindset helps people find and live their higher purpose. And just to share some of her awards and the works that she the companies that she has worked with, Mahima, despite that she was born in Zimbabwe, but has spent her whole life adult life traveling around the world. So she's a global citizen, I would say. and teaching her unique brand of mindful leadership. She has spoken at Google and given workshops in UBS Bank, the Global Fund, and Mind Valley Epic Fest, and many other prestigious companies. She has featured as thought leader on Duku's Copy TV and is currently featured on leading meditation apps like Omvana, Insights, and Mindblaze. Mahima has received the Swiss Enterprise Award 2017 for Best Meditation Coach and many other international awards for her training in 2018 and 2019. So without so much further ado, I'd like to bring in Mahima. Hi, Mahima.
Hi, everybody. What a joy to be here. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm just thrilled and excited to spend this time with you.
It's my pleasure to have you here. And just to give an idea of, I don't know if you still remember how we get to meet each other. We're in the same mentorship program of Kane and Alessia, and I've met you and I've seen you speak on the stage in 2017 with Sir Richard Branson, and
Wow.
several programs where we've attended together with your husband as well for some of the programs that has been run here in Singapore. So just to let our audience know, how did I get to meet you, and how did I get to know you, and why I invited you here on this show, because I know your specialization and your focus is a lot of on the mindset, and which is very important for every leaders, no matter like how big or small your business is, right?
Absolutely. Marilyn, thank you so much. And it's very rare that I actually find talk to someone who was in Singapore when I hit the stage with Sir Richard Branson. And it was really quite an amazing event and amazing opportunity to meet someone and share the same stage as somebody so awesome. And, of course, the work you're doing is also helping many people. So I really feel honored to be part of that conversation about transformation and leadership, specifically related to business, entrepreneurship, and yeah, people who want to make an impact in the world and make their life be of some meaning other than just, using work is just to earn money, send my kids to school, buy nice things, and that's like that's just one part of what one gets to do with success. But there's so much more to it, and leadership and transformation is definitely a part of that more impactful journey.
Thank you for that. And I'm super excited to learn more from you, and to also inspire more leaders who will be watching us, whether on live or on a replay, um, based on the experience and the answers that you will share today. So, to start with, please do share with us your leadership experiences. And if you have like influencers you'd like to mention, and possibly like if you have a favorite leadership style that you have like inclination for, please do share with us.
So I believe that it is important to lead with love and integrity. I think those are the two principles of leadership that I like to inspire people to be thinking about. And with love and integrity comes a level of compassion for understanding humans and understanding that we are human. So we have a light side, brilliance, beauty, awesome, and we have a shadow side, which is impatient, gets angry, judgmental, doesn't perform as well. And that's part of being human, as well as being brilliant and always on and always sparkling. So I think leadership 2.0 is taking into consideration all of what it means to be human and supporting the people that you are leading, inspiring by, first of all, leading yourself into a more, vulnerable, open, honest place where you can own your brilliance and your beauty and your power and and your success, but also own the shadow side, the not so nice side, right? And that's a part that most of us are not even taught to talk about, to deal with, or to expose in any way, form, or shape, right? And we just try to pretend like it doesn't exist, but the truth is it does exist, and that's why often we'll have people coming on our campus and saying, oh, my manager or my boss is, not so nice, da, da, da. And this is where, I think we can up level leadership by, changing the way people think about what it means to be a leader, right? And obviously there's been a lot of male influences in that space. So if you even ask me what I think about leadership, men come to my mind. I think about Martin Luther King. I think about Gandhi. I think about, the guy from South Africa. I'm blanking out right now. Uh, but everybody knows who I'm talking about. Okay, the president of South Africa, that was in jail for a bunch of years. So you guys all know that guy. But for some reason, when you reach 51,
Nelson Mandela.
there you go, there you go. when you reach 51 and you start menopause, weird things start happening to your brain. I tell you, it's a very interesting process. Anyway, yes, Nelson Mandela, right? So we think a lot about men, and then, of course, women are starting to get into the arena, and then comes to mind Michelle Obama, right? And that's Oprah Winfrey, and so forth and so on. So I think that it is about compassion. It's about humanity. It's not about trying to pretend like you're perfect and you're doing and saying everything perfectly, because I don't think that's the type of leader that works in the world, right? Well, let's put it this way: it has been working in the past, but I think people are starting to realize that that's not the type of leadership that they want, right? So we've got to dig deeper and look to something more human, more love, more compassion, more kindness. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love how you've actually shared with us about around love, integrity, compassion, which are the things that you've mentioned earlier, right? And also, I mean, the only reason why I would probably ask about the influencer is because um, this is something that most people can easily relate to, right? Um, and the examples that they have brought about being a leader in whichever industry or space that they were in. And again, what I'm getting now from you is really like, um, I really love how you defined or how you have actually shared around leadership 2.0, which is about all about being human, right? Embracing our superpowers, our brilliance, our beauty, but not forgetting that, from these shadows that we have, we can actually recreate and turn it into possibilities, into another beauty or gift that we can give into other people as well, right?
Absolutely, absolutely love how you phrase that. Yeah, because yes, Rosella is saying she agrees. That's good. It's great to get that feedback. I love that.
Yes, so please do continue. Like, this is an invitation for everyone who's watching us live to please do join us in this conversation. This is not about an interview just between me and Mahima, but also like inviting you and encouraging you to give your comments, what you are agreeing on, or what like lessons are you getting from us, right? Or if you have any additional questions for Mahima, I'm sure she wouldn't mind answering that for us as well. So yeah. So I mean, you've also somehow answered my second question on what is leadership or what's the meaning of leadership. But I just want to get back a little bit like I don't know if I should call it past, but based on your experience, why are you coming up with all these answers now about love, integrity, and the importance of not only compassion but being human? So, what experience did you had in the past that made you highlight this in this conversation now?
So my whole journey has been about personal transformation. I started at the age of 22 years old, going through a very deep awakening process. Right, awakening from the fact that I had been, quite frankly, I call it a sort of cultural brainwashing. Right,
Mhm.
this word is very scary for a lot of people. Like, brainwashing, right? But what it just means is that you're brought up in a certain way, to think a certain way. So I'm brought up in Africa, in Zimbabwe, and in Zimbabwe, this is how Zimbabweans think. This is what we consider important, not important. Tribe with the different tribes that go on there, the different, African. They have two languages over there, so two different cultures, and we were brought up as Roman Catholics. And now you could be from Israel, and you could be Jewish, and you could be from India and be Muslim. So we're brought up to think and behave a certain way. Okay, the thing is that within these cultural ways of thinking, There are some things that are good and awesome and amazing, and there's some things that aren't. There's some things that are shadow, that are not good, that we need to become conscious of and transform. So most people are not thinking about that when they think about themselves. They just think and accept what the culture and the society has told them. That's the reality. And so that is the reality, right? And so then it becomes very difficult for us to find union and connection with other people that are different from us, because they won't be approving maybe of some of the things that we are doing, right? And because we're not questioning if what we're doing is actually still relevant, right? Because I give you the example of, there's this thing called Lobola in Zimbabwe, where the man is giving money or cows to get a wife, and he can get as many wives as he would like. Yeah, if he goes to the father of these women and gives money or cattle or whatever has been arranged, right? And he can have as many wives as he wants to have, right? And the women, yeah, and the women are basically, exchanged in that way. And so for me, as a woman that wants to empower women and the voice of women, and for women to have a say in their own destiny, I don't want that to continue in my culture. I think that that's something that we need to change and transform. So leadership is the ability to speak up even against the conformity, right? Is having the courage, the power, the bravery, the self-belief to say, even if nobody agrees with me. Martin Luther King didn't have everyone saying, hey, we love what you're saying and let's all jump on board, right? But he had integrity and believed in his ideas of change and transformation, right? So this is just to give an example, one example of what is going on in your culture, in your religion, in your world, that might need to be questioned. And for me, a leader has the courage to question that, because we need to be coming together as one human race. As long as we all stay in our corners, expecting everyone to accept everything that we do, everything that we are, under the guise of that's our culture, that is our religion, that is who we are, how will we grow and how will we transform? Right? So these are deep questions. And for me, that's what leadership is all about, right? It's asking uncomfortable questions to yourself. And then, do you have the courage to stand behind your beliefs with integrity and love, respecting everyone else, of course, but still being able to say, this is what I believe.
Wow, thank you for sharing that with us. I mean, um, that's really true, and I believe it's still happening in what we have today, even in organizations. And I remembered someone actually mentioned me, leadership is not a popularity contest, right? I mean, like what you said, it's not really everyone buying into what you said, but at least also being able to actually speak up against the things that has to change, right? And now I think this is more relevant to more leaders because a lot has changed during the pandemic, right? And there are things that is not relevant anymore, and as a leader we need to communicate that, we need to accept that, and we need to like help our team to be able to adapt to that changes. And like um there's still a lot of rules and ways where people are still, oh, we're continuing, this is the policy, this is the regulations. I think there has to have a change as well in these regulations and rules, right? Because of it's
100%.
such change. Yeah.
Look, one voice is enough to create change if that voice can speak up from a place of inspiration and a place of love, right? So what does that mean? Like if I'm angry about what's going on and this, bartering women for cattle or whatever, and I go in with an aggressive, that is not going to help it to change anything, right? So
True.
how do I find a way to speak about freedom, self-expression, independence, rights of everybody. So I have to try to find the passion inside of myself, and that's what a
Mhm.
leader, looks to. That is not coming in with judgment and negative energy, even though there may be times. I mean, if you need to defend your life, you can't say, diplomatically nicely. You've got to just go in and fight or do whatever if somebody comes at you, right? But most of the time, that's not what leadership is about. It's more about trying to find a common ground of something that can resonate with somebody. Maybe not the men that are doing the thing, but maybe the women that are looking for their independence and their voice. Maybe they can hear the message and then start to be the change makers on that topic, right? So it's about finding a way to be elevated in your leadership so that you inspire and move people onto a higher frequency, right? And I think that is something that a leader has to do, working first of all on their own rage, or like, this isn't right, because I think sometimes maybe in organizations people go in with that attitude, and that's why they're maybe not able to rally up as much support in their need for something maybe true what they're saying, right? So I think that's where the work has to come on. That I think if you really want to change something in a very uh, dense environment, dense, I don't know if that's the right word, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying, right? Something
Yes.
that has been going on for long, 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 long time, and then
Mhm.
people some say even like, why bother even trying to change it, right? The reason you would bother is because there's a calling inside of your heart that
Mhm.
feels like, this is something that I am meant to be a part of creating change and transformation around.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if you really want to change something, it's got to come from deep, deep inside of your heart and not from your head, right? Because the head can only react with what it knows, which is, this is wrong and I'm going to get angry, right? That's the level of mind. But when you go deeper to passion, to heart, to integrity, to compassion, that's when you start coming up with ideas that, you can think outside of the box. How do I get my message across here?
And that's very interesting because you don't really have similar conversations, not a lot of similar conversations, I would say, within organizations. Like, and that's the reason why I'm so inspired to do more of these conversations, or to have these conversations with leaders like you, to be able to like open up and to inspire other leaders to like, focus more on their passion, and like starting from the space or the place of inspiration and love, like what you've said earlier, right? Because as a leader, we are change makers, change catalysts, right? And what we sell to our team for them to buy into our ideas and to our visions is the change, the possibilities, the potentials that we can create out of those changes that we are um, like encouraging or empowering them to do, right? So I mean, moving to the next question. Like in my introduction, I made mention around next normal and the challenges that it has, and as well as I would say opportunities that it has posted in most leaders. So in your case, how would you define or describe next normal?
Next normal in leadership might is the question, right? So next normal is, for me, it's radical. So some people might be like, what, right? um, I think the next normal is creating what I call a safe space within the team that you're leading, right? And what does that mean? It means that you understand that if you have a team of people where everybody is in the right place where they need to do. So first of all, they're using their superpower, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing what they love and what they're passionate about. And that's how, I've created this seven-figure business trying to lead a team. I've been learning a lot of things, right? And one of the things that I've learned is if people are not in the right place, they are not going to perform well. Yeah. And so as a team leader, you've got to be willing to not judge and criticize, but question, is this the right place for that team leader? Or sorry, that team member, right? Are they doing what they are good at, first of all, right? Are they doing what they love and that they're passionate about? Because that's what you want to have on your team. You don't want to have somebody doing something just because they have to pay their rent. Yeah, because they've got this job and they need to, create money, and they're coming from a place of fear because, they don't know what to do, but then, don't really love what they're doing. You don't want that team member on your team, right? You want somebody who's in the right place doing what they love to do. So I believe the next normal is creating a safe space so that you can have frequent check-ins with your team. Like, how's everybody doing? Right? How's it going? Do you feel, you're in the right place? If not, where else can we put you? Right? In the system, so that you can thrive and really enjoy your work and enjoy what you're doing, right? So this is a authentic, so that there should be that opportunity for team members to contribute their honest truth about their jobs and what they're doing and what they think could be done better in the organization, or what they think. So getting feedback. But it's important as well that the people, like the team members, learn how to give constructive feedback that comes from a place of love and integrity, and that doesn't just become a opportunity to tear down the leadership and criticize and judge. So this, for me, the next normal will be learning communication skills that make us understand we're dealing with humans, okay, not robots, okay? And that means that humans have triggers, right? So those triggers were formed in your childhood, in your very early stages, based on what happened in your childhood, right? My childhood, there was a lot of aggression. I was physically abused as a child and verbally abused. So, so I have triggers around, any type of abuse, right? So if somebody comes at me, it's like, poof, it brings up my triggers, right? So being aware of the fact that you're dealing with humans and that they all need to take responsibility for what they bring into a space, right? So the new normal will be everybody, the boss and the team members, taking responsibility for what they bring into the space, right? So do you go to work in a place of elevation, positivity, because you've worked on yourself and you understand that you deserve a life that is, a beautiful life, and therefore you deserve to feel good. And so you've worked on yourself through your meditation practice, through your personal growth practice. And now you understand that your energy affects other people. So when you step into the space, you're bringing your best self, right? You're not bringing in, negative energy, judging, criticizing, hiding, blaming, accusing, victim mindset, right? So for me, the next new normal when people elevate will be that people understand you need to be working on yourself. And when you become a part of a team, how you think, feel, and act is important. It is as important as how the leader think, feels, and acts. It's not just up to the leadership to make you feel good and make you feel amazing. That is your job as a team member, to be connected to yourself, connected to your voice and your power, and be able to speak your truth in a loving, kind, and respectful way, right? So I
True.
hope this is all making sense. We have so little time. I'm so passionate about this topic. So I usually go
I
deep
know.
in answers, right? So just to recap on what I said, it's about people taking ownership of themselves, right? And what they put into the space when they're interacting with other humans, right? Everybody has the right to be and believe whatever they believe. That being said, when you come together with others, Are you willing to own your light and make sure that everyone feels it? And if you have any negativity, keep that minimized and not, that's the normal default setting in which you operate in, right? So I
Yes.
think that is the for me would be the elevation when people work on themselves, and that's what we do. That's what the Mahima mindset is all about. It's all about helping people to get to their passion. What's your genius? What's the mission? What's the thing that you love to do? Then find other people to work with, either in your own company or in an employee situation. Follow your passion, do what you love, right? And make sure that if you have a team of people, if you're leading a team, frequently check in with your team that everyone is on point, right? And someone could have started the process thinking, hey, this is awesome and great, but half a year into it, 8 months into it, they're miserable. They don't love what, then it's okay to say, hey, are you really happy here doing this work, right? And have the courage as a leader to to notice your team and get the truth out of them, because the truth will set everyone free, and the whole system will function so much more beautifully when everyone stays in their truth and integrity.
Wow, thank you for sharing that with us. And again, that's a really good reminder for everyone to be accountable for whatever actions we may take, right? And I mean, every one of us like go through, like you've mentioned, you grew up in a place where there's so much abuse, but at the same time you are like, shining globally, helping people to actually like get through those past negative experience that you have. And again, that's about taking accountability on yourself, on what you actually wanted to um, like message that you bring out, how you wanted to influence others, and how you can actually like amplify the superpowers or genius that you have, like what you've mentioned earlier, right? And I think it's but because it's kind of easy for most people right, to be lazy or to blame others at the same time. And that's the reason why, it's always been like a challenge for some people, especially within organizations, because these are group of humans, of people with different, pardon my word, but perhaps the best word is different shit that they had to go through, right, on a daily basis, right? But again, like if you have that accountability that I have this ownership of myself, and how will I respond, or how will I interact with people, then it's a different story altogether, right? Like being able
100%.
to have that accountability every time, everywhere, anytime, right? As much
100%.
as possible. I mean, I know that it's easier said than done. But I mean, if every one of us is accountable at least for, the words that we say, the things that we do, and that will also bring it will bring in like ripple effects, right? Like sometimes when you just appreciate someone for the things that they do, that already brings joy to them. And that brings me back to a conversation or to a summit I have been to recently, where they actually talk about like how can you bring joy within the organization. And it's just simply this, right? Like what you said, having that accountability, leveraging on your genius, and being able to work together in a harmonious way.
Yes. Look,
Right.
guys, people need to understand you need training in this. It's not magically going to happen. Okay. So, as much information as one can get from conversations like this that start to,
Yes.
maybe plant new seeds or open a new door, maybe you're already doing it, but gives a little bit of a deeper insight, right? So, the reason I am here today is because I got trained. I showed up and said, I don't know how to be a sparkly, a shiny human that spreads love into the world. I do not know how to do that. Okay. And what I've been taught is you shut down your emotions. You're scared of other people, and their judgments and their thoughts, right? I've been taught a very different way of approaching other humans. I mean, I was brought up with apartheid. I don't know if you guys know what this is in Zimbabwe, right? Like where they segregate people. Black people stay here, white people stay there, Indians stay there. And yeah, and these people are better than these people, and these people are better than these people. So these are all influences that are going on inside of your system. And without a system, and I call it a community of people that are going to support you to safely, okay, recondition your mind to think differently, right? So it is good to take part in coaching, to find a personal growth mentor, right? If you're a leader that's struggling to, feel like your team has got your back, and you're able to bring your best self, you're able to own your shit, as you said it. Let's say you snap, or you do something that isn't quite right. Are you able to say, hey guys, that was totally inappropriate, I snapped, that's not the leader I want to be. So, but I'm human and it happens, but I don't condone this way that I just spoke right now. And I don't feel comfortable with it either. I'm not saying it will never happen again, because I am a human, but it is something that I'm working on transforming and changing, because, I think we should have, good communications, and not have to get to this place where this type of communication happens, right? So for me, that would be a powerful leader who can take, own that this wasn't my best self that just showed up to this party, right? And it's not, as I said, easy if you're used of just like, as I said, this is what happens, I'm the boss, I scream, everyone runs and goes in the corner and is scared of me, then this might not be a conversation you want to hear, right?
Exactly,
So I
exactly.
think this is really another level of leadership where you need to understand, you need to get the training. Okay.
True, true.
Yeah,
And
I'm.
it's and I would say that it's more than training. You've mentioned as well coaching and all those stuff. Because it's interesting. Like I had this conversation with several clients and potential clients. It's interesting. They when they said like, oh, we don't get me wrong, we've actually have provided a lot of training, in fact, for our leaders. But just the same, after a while, they're back to like it's as if they're back to zero. Like they don't know how to like um talk to the team members, they shout at them, or they even like this is kind of common as well, where when leaders or management would have like a take for this, where of course they would expect supervisors and managers and other leaders to support them to this, but at the same time they also like go to the same group of people where yeah, and complain as well and all those stuff, right?
100%.
And
Well, I
yeah.
have a theory. I have a theory on that. I have a
Mhm.
theory because a lot of trainings are mind-based trainings, like sort of,
Mhm.
so
Sure.
they teach you stuff like they did in school, right? Like these are the three ways of communication, and this is and it's stuff that you have to learn here inside of your head, right? And if you forget, oh, what were those three styles? What style am I? You're lost again. Okay. So the training we do is embodied training. It is, it changes on a cellular level. Now, without experiencing this, it sounds like for some people like we're talking about science fiction or something, but trust me, it's not, right? We do a lot of what we call embodiment work, where the transformation, you see the person's face changing. Yeah. You see the person's body, how they stand, how they move in their body will be different. When you move somebody from head consciousness to heart
Right.
consciousness, there's literally a shift that is completely different. Yeah.
Mhm.
So most leadership trainings, sadly, are mostly filling more mental activity into people's minds, and so that's why they go back to whatever they used to go back to, right?
Sure.
But if you can do trainings that allow a deeper level, a body and a heart transformation, where even the face of the person changes. People go like, oh my God, I can't believe this is the same guy. And it's amazing when people come into our trainings, right? They can't believe how they change on a physical level, because leadership is embodied. It is inside of how you talk, how you walk, how look, how you look at somebody, right? And so we do a lot of deep, we call them activations, right?
Mhm.
That allow people to have cellular level transformation. It is very unique. It is a very, let's say, challenging for a lot of mind based leaders. It's
True.
like, what are we doing? What, this is so, that's their initial reaction. Okay. But then when it starts to kick in and work, that's when they fall in love with our work and go, oh my
True.
God, this is another dimension, right? So
Yes.
just need to mention that if people are really looking for change that goes beyond the seminar, then you need to create cellular level transformation for people.
Exactly. And that's what I really like enjoy most in the conversations I have, or the type of like resources or experts that I work with. A lot of the work is very behavioral, cellular, like what you said, cellular based, which is not common in most programs that I see that are being like implemented in most companies. And that's the reason why I've been educating more people and organizations, like, so if this is not working now, what would you like to do differently, right? It's about time to for you to invest on something that will really give you a better return of investment, despite that, this might not sound very mind based or very structured based, but it just works, right?
Exactly, exactly. And don't get me wrong, we have very systems and stuff that we teach so that you do have that, let's say, the mind knowledge for people who need to
Right.
have that. But
Exactly.
without that being embodied, you can
Mhm.
forget it. You're just at school. You're just at school learning something about, communication and leadership, but it's all here and it hasn't sunk into this, part of
Yeah,
your being, call it your spirit, your soul, your essence, your
true.
passion, whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. Yeah,
We love
and that.
people to walk out of our events and people don't even recognize them. They're like, whoa, what happened to you? Yeah,
Yeah,
I just went through Mahima's 3-day leadership training and wow.
true. Yeah, it's all about like really integrating all this. I mean, I run a lot of technical programs in the past, and I really love it for the ROI, but at the same time I also see like I want more transformational and holistic change for my clients, because that makes it more sustainable for them. And so with that, what can I do? Because it's really a lot more of integrating both. We're not saying that mind training is not important here, but it's really about how can we make it more holistic, how can we make it integrated, how can we make it sustainable, right? So those are the things that we actually wanted to, like, bring in to the table when they work with us, right? So, and before I proceed to my next question, I just want to acknowledge William for sending us love. Thank you so much. And Huda, she shared something. Mahima is dropping lots of truth bombs here.
Oh,
I
wow.
agree with you.
It gave me goosebumps. Thank you, Huda. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, that's what we are here for. So anyway, I mean, from your experience, I'm sure you work with mostly entrepreneurs, but you've also worked with corporate leaders. And what would you say would be the top three problems that most leaders would normally face, if you have to summarize it to just three?
Hmm. I would say that self reflection and self awareness is a big issue for many people, right? Lack of self awareness, right? What am I bringing into the space? How do I show up? What is my body? Am I saying to people before I've spoken? Yeah, before I've opened my mouth. Okay, what am I? Bring. because we know that this is a huge story, right, in the in the leadership space, right? Crossed
Yeah.
arms, kind of looking at people, like, right. So self-awareness is a big issue. Many people have no idea, right? And actually would be shocked if somebody would photograph them when they talk, when they walk, when they speak. They would be totally like, oh my god, really, is that what I look like? Is that how I'm coming across, right? So I think that that's one thing for sure. um, I think feeling the need to mask is also an issue, right? So I want to put out an image, right? And I want to, like that image might not be all of who you are. It might be what you think others expect from you, right? So finding your authentic self expression, that is a big thing for leaders. Like when I'm not trying to be liked or loved or, admired, how would I show up differently, right? So this freedom to really find your authentic voice, I think that's a second thing, right? So awareness, authentic expression. And then what would be the third one? I would say connection, lack of being able to connect in the heart with others. Right? It's so important that we feel connected. I mean, this is part of, something that we crave as humans, right? We need to feel connected. That's why, for example, when we go out in nature, why does it feel so beautiful? Because you feel connected. You feel connected to the mountains. You feel connected to the river and the trees. And there's this feeling of connection that happens. And that, I think, is something that leaders also want to experience, this feeling of being connected with your team members and being able to vibe together and laugh and have fun, but also achieve results and work as a group in a flow state, right?
Mhm.
You can't be in flow state without understanding connection with others, right? You can't just be in your own world, me, and expect everyone to want to follow you and to be inspired by you. In order to really be a leader, you need to be able to connect. So that means you are aware. Even when you speak, are my words dropping? Are they being picked up? Because some people just speak. They just speak. Blah, 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 blah. They don't know if people are listening. They don't know if people care because there's a lack of connection, right? So as a leader, if you're interested to up level the connection, that when I speak, I feel my words drop into people's hearts. I feel people are hanging on my next word because they want to know what else am I going to say, because they care and I care that they care and we're connected, right? So those are the three things: self-awareness, authentic self-expression, and staying connected to yourself and being open to connect with others. You need to bring those walls down, and you need to understand energy, right? You're not just a thinking head. You're not just a talking head. Your words are going out energetically. Are they landing? Yeah, your vibration is affecting the space around you. Is it giving the results that you want? Are you connecting with your audience, with the people, with your team, and so forth?
Yeah, I really love how you summarize these three top problems on self awareness, authenticity, and connectedness. And I'm really glad these are my top strengths, actually, um,
Great.
that you shared. But anyway, I mean, from what I hear from you, or these three summary, it only really like summarizes. If I were to choose only one word, it's really like working on oneself, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Working
If you
on
want to be the
yourself.
next, if you want to be a leader that people listen to, work harder on yourself than you do on anything else, right? And so many people misunderstand that, and understandably so, because let's face it, if you turn on the news, all of these things that we're saying are rife in the leadership, right? Lack of self-awareness, masking, and not connect. It's what leaders are all about, right? So
True.
this is it's forward thinking. It's the future. The people that are thinking this way. are the thought leaders, right, of
True.
future generations. And there is something, for something new to be born, something needs to die, right? So I think that the old way of leadership is slowly coming to a slow and horrible death. Okay. And in its place is being born something through, the many, women and men that are raising up their consciousness and awareness and understanding that it's about being humans, and we need to find a way to work together that everybody feels seen, heard, and felt. But that being said, you need to be open to that, right?
True. Yes,
Mhm.
that's really beautiful. The last statement that you just shared with us. And obviously, like, we're not going to leave them with these top three problems, although you've touched on some of the potential solutions or like skills and capabilities that are actually able to address the top three problems. But let me just ask you to summarize it again. What are the important leadership capabilities and skills you must have in the next normal to continue to lead effectively?
Okay, so bringing elevated energy to the space, right? You need to know how to be resilient so that no matter what's going on in your external environment, you are not breaking down, you're not, coming apart, you're not losing your shit. You can have the momentary of
Mhm.
that, right? So I call it the 80-20 rule, right? Where 80% of the time you can be grounded, you can be centered, you can operate from a place of elevation, from a place of love. And there'll be 20% where you're not that, where you will be human and you will, lose your shit or, not be the most, smart person in the room, right? Because of whatever, your own emotional trips. Let's say if you're going through a terrible divorce, that's going to be affecting you as a leader. So you cannot expect to go through something like that while coming here and masking and pretending everything is fine, right? So, it will be vulnerability, right? Because I think that's a powerful and important thing about leaders, right? Is to be able to be vulnerable and own, what I call it, own your shit, right? If there is something going on, like, have the courage to say, guys, this is a super challenging time, in my life right now. I'm not going to bring my personal story here, but just know that, my mom just died, and it's very difficult for me emotionally. So if I don't, act as, or show up 100%, I'm going through my process of grief. I'm going through my process of letting go and this and that. Just that one sentence could go a long way in people understanding if they're feeling something funky, it's because there is something funky, right? And you've owned it. And so it's not going to be necessarily taken personally. So it's ability to be vulnerable with what, without bringing your dirty laundry there, but still you need to be human and you need to be able to be vulnerable with your team, right? So yeah, so I think that the first thing I said was elevation, right?
Yes, elevate,
Elevate.
bringing
Yeah,
your elevated energy.
exactly. And that is by working on yourself. That is by working on yourself mentally, emotionally, mindset training, right? Personal growth training, things that you're doing on a daily basis to elevate yourself. It doesn't just happen by itself. It's not a one done deal. Like, oh, think about it like showering, right? If you shower, you shower every day. You don't just shower, once every 2 months. So going to, a meditation for 1 hour every 2 months, that's not going to help you. You need daily practice to come back to your center. I always tell people, leaders, to remember this. You came into the world with nothing. You're going to leave with nothing. So what is the true point and meaning of what you're doing? Okay, it is to experience life more than to accumulate more wealth, more this, more accolades. Like when your time is to go out of this body, you don't take any of that stuff with you. So what really matters is what you felt on the journey, what you experienced, the memories that you made, right? So if you think of taking care of yourself so that you can appreciate each day, get rid of the feeling of, confusion, lack, anger, like really consciously choose to let go of these things and embrace peace, embrace gratitude, embrace a feeling of, I came into this world with nothing, I'm going to leave with nothing. So I'm grateful for this breath. I'm grateful for today. I'm awake and wise. I'm not thinking I have time and just squandering my life away. Right. So that's where the elevation I'm talking about comes from. It comes from some deep unearthing of the question, who am I? Which nobody bothers to ask, right? Who am I? It's such an important question, and one worth spending time to investigate and to find out. Yes. And then, the vulnerability is just to be able to be natural, be real. That's what people want. Nobody wants like a fake bravado of leadership, right? You can, sometimes you're going to feel that like, wow, I'm just here. And other times you're not going to be feeling that. And you need to own that and be okay with, guys, today's not my best day. I'm sorry. Yeah. So just know you might not get the best Mahima today. I'm dealing with some stuff. Yeah. And so, but I appreciate you all. That's just owning, right? So I love that vulnerability. And then last of all, it is a sense of playfulness, fun, and curiosity. I think so many people take life so seriously, and it's such a pity, right? And I think the leaders that inspire me are, they have a curiosity, a playfulness, because when we think of playfulness, we think of a child, like, oh, look, he's so cute, right? But I think we can have so much more fun. I want to put more fun back into, how people work and how people show up. Laughter, fun, pleasure, joy, right? Find a way to create this with your team. Find a way to bring that aspect to work. Yeah, work can't just be tough. Let's all be serious. Like, no way. We're here for a transient amount of time, which we don't even know. Let there be joy and laughter and connection. Yeah.
Wow, thank you for summarizing that to us. And for those who actually just came in, again, that's bringing elevated energy, having those resilience, ability to be vulnerable by being natural and owning yourself. And last but not the least, the sense of playfulness, fun, and curiosity, which I also love.
Yeah.
Because, and I think that's also an experience we got uh, from Richard Branson, right? He's very fun.
Absolutely.
Do a
Yes.
lot of fun things as well, right?
Yes. He's a great example of that.
Really good example of that. And so, the next question, I got a comment that this is kind of huge question. That's, what do you believe is the role of learning, leadership, and transformation in thriving the next normal? I mean, obviously, we've been highlighting how important learning and leadership is, and the need to transform, right? But this is probably an invitation, if you were to like summarize in a sentence or two what you have just shared in the last almost an hour, right?
Yes.
Mm.
So a summary of everything we just said. Okay, this is what my teacher taught me. Find an inner peace, a love, and a joy that is not dependent on external circumstances, events, or people. I'll repeat that. Find an inner peace, a love, and a joy that is not dependent on external circumstances, events, or people. This will allow you to experience what is known as freedom. Yes, freedom to think, feel, and act in your authentic truth. Live your life with passion. Yes, and bring to each day intention to enjoy what you're doing, and support others as best as you can from a kind heart.
Wow, that's really beautiful. I mean, inner peace. and what I remembered in one of the conversations I had with a, a coach as well, he said that, you know, we have to be more mindful or more focused around our inner game rather than like looking on the external things around us. And yeah, that's really great. I mean, like, we have to learn, we have to lead our lives and at the same way as we do for others, right? And change has to happen for that, for us to be able to handle that and to work on ourselves. I mean, it sounds so simple, inner peace sounds so simple, and yet, like, you know, this is like a continuous journey we have to work on a lifetime. I mean, finding that love and joy that nobody can give us but ourselves, right?
Exactly. And I mean, think about it, guys, in case anyone has any doubts about what I'm saying and they think it's like, too fluffy. Okay. If you are constantly feeling negative, feeling down, depressed, angry, sad, confused, what can you actually create from that space? Right? Because you become that which you think about most of the time. You become that what you feel most of the time, right? So this is what people need to understand. And they're breakdown, burnout, it's just on the rise. Okay, so this is not something that we're just making up, like, oh yeah, it is time for people to understand we need to work on our internal spaces, right? Before, this type of work was considered something that your parents taught you, or that your religion taught you. Okay, but there's another level that my parents, my religion couldn't teach me. Okay, there's another level of self consciousness and self awareness that I wasn't able to tap into from anybody because they hadn't learned it. So how can you teach something you haven't learned? Right? I mean, how can you teach compassion, kindness, love, joy, bliss if you're living from a place of anger, resentment, smallness, which is not judging anybody that brought me up, but it's the reality. If you're in a system like apartheid and they don't give emotional development courses, right? Because there's mind, you go to school and you learn 1 + 1 is 2, and you learn to be an IT manager, and you learn to be a doctor, and you learn to be a lawyer, right? But what's happening in here? All messy. Most of us, if we haven't done any kind of work, the inner state is messy. So this is what I'm saying, that people are, don't need to feel bad if you are, feeling like, you know what, I'm not operating as my best self. That's okay. It is very common. I was in that space before I got my awakening that there's another way to be in my body. There's another way to think. There's another way to act. There's another way to feel that I hadn't previously been taught, right? So for some people, this is very new. It's a new space and it feels very radical. But for
Mhm.
those of you, that are in that new space, if you felt inspired, just start asking more questions, right? And for those of you already like, okay, I've learned a lot about this, but I'm stuck, then you need to get to the next level, right? And just keep being curious, keep finding new ways of making your life extraordinary and beautiful, because it's your precious life, yours. Nobody can do that for you, right? So you can dedicate your life to something that you are passionate about, that you feel has meaning, or you can just squander it away, on disrupted emotional, craziness.
So I actually still have two more questions for you. I think the invitation to summarize it is for the first five questions, but I mean, I'd love to hear from you what will be your answer to these two important questions, which I normally would refer to as Miss Universe questions, right?
Okay.
So so the last two questions would be, the first is, if you have a magic wand that you can use, what will you do with it?
Ooh, wow. If I had a magic wand, what would I do with it? I would create a world that is free from unnecessary, people dying from not having the foundational pieces of life, which are things like food, clean water, electricity, sanitary toilets, and all of the, the things that, in 2022 we've already learned to send men to, out of space. So I think that the basic problems should be solved here on planet Earth, right? So I would want to, see most people, not most, as many people as possible living above poverty, right? As opposed to the ratio that we have right now. I would love that we implement in schools emotional development training, so that we're not just learning about science, about maths, about computers, about this and that, that we're learning about emotions, about how to love, with authenticity, how we're learning about our sexuality in a way that's powerful and transformative. We're learning about how to communicate with others, how to connect to ourselves and others, how to feel good, happy, grounded. So emotional development training as standardized as they have the 1+1 is 2 training, right? So I would love to see personal growth trainings being taught to people from as soon as they start school. So I would also love to see, at the sort of teenage level, or even sooner, actually, even sooner, I would love that people are encouraged to follow their true talents. So not everybody is going to be good at the mind learning. Some people will have body talent, right? Some people will be creatives. They'll be with painting or poetry or whatever it is, right? So I feel like instead of a school system that, says, if you have a master's degree, this is the top of what it means to be a smart human being. I think that really needs to change, and people need to be given the freedom to, because everyone comes in with a natural gift in life. And imagine if we had a school system that would allow people to actually become brilliant and masterful at things that they truly talented at, and not feel to made small or stupid because they don't follow the traditional education. So I'd love
That's
to.
mhm.
I could go on and on. Yeah. So
That's
I'll just
really
drop
good.
it there.
You already had your three wishes
I did, good, good,
yesterday.
good.
Yeah, so it's really good. I mean, at least for sure, in one way or another, from the things that you do now, you've been helping people to realize it, to work on these things that you have. So even without the magic wand, at least you're already helping in addressing all of these, right? And possibly, if not yet, then we can probably collaborate one of these days to address all these. Maybe we can come up with like schools
Let's
that
do
will
it.
really teach emotional development, and probably like build more children to make use of their superpowers, of their geniuses, rather than following the old school style, right? And the
Exactly.
last questions, I mean, for you is that if you were to ask yourself a question that you can best answer, what would it be? And since you can best answer it, please let us know what your answer is to that question.
If I could ask myself a question that I would best answer, what would the
Yes,
question be?
yes. And of course, since you can best answer it, feel free to answer it for us.
The question, who am I? Yeah, the question, who am I? So this is, I think I told you guys, I think that this is one of the most powerful and important questions that we need to ask as individuals, so we can grow and be like amazing humans, right? And there's two parts to answering that question. The first part is, who am I spiritually? Now, the word spiritual has a bad rap in the world, okay? But what I want to kind of say is, I don't care if you understand the word spiritual or you want to put another word there, but there is something that is born, and there's something that will leave this body. There's something that's going to be gone from this body, right? Is that your spirit? Is that your soul? Is that what is that aspect of self? that's exploring the question, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Are you just your name? Are you just your body? Are you just your story? Or is there something more? Right? So the question, who am I, is a very powerful question. And the two parties, who am I spiritually? And the other one is, who am I in the world? What is my vocation? Am I a teacher? Am I a coach? Am I a lawyer? Do I want to be the next president? Am I an astronaut? Right? So a lot of people know about asking that part of the question, who am I? But unfortunately, it's not driven by the first part, which is, who am I spiritually, or who am I beyond these labels of teacher, mentor, guide, right? And that part of, who am I, is the part when you answer, who am I spiritually, you understand that it's not about what you're going to achieve. It's not about who's in your life or who isn't in your life. It's not about how much money is in your bank or how much money isn't. It's about how you feel every single day. It's about what you feel when you wake up in the morning and you open your eyes. Yeah. Do you feel grateful, joyful, excited about a new day? Or do you feel like, shit, fuck, another day on this planet, right? The who am I, the first part of that question, is really important. And when you answer that, you are starting to change how you live, moment by moment by moment. That brings you into the power of the now, which is one of the most powerful places you can live, because everybody wants one thing and one thing only from you, which is your presence, your attention, right? Your focus. So if I'm here with you, you want me to be totally present with you, right? And not drifting off thinking about a million trillion things. When you're with your children, they want you to be there with them, connecting, showing them yourself and your emotion. So I could go on and on, but that's it. It's, who am I? And explore, 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 find out, and watch your life change massively once you answer these two questions.
Wow, really. Thank you so much, Mahima, and thank you for those who watch us live and who would watch us on a replay. I really appreciate all your insights. Very wonderful. It's really from the heart, I would say. So it's been a really, I would say, um I think the best word is a magical and lovely conversation
Oh,
with you. Thank you so much for that. I really love the conversation. And thank you
thank
everyone for
you.
watching us live, giving your comments, and share with us what you've learned and what inspiration did you get from Mahima from this session. And please do continue joining us in this journey to create more opportunities for us to, in this case, to bring more joy into our lives, right? Because we can. We can create a
Transforming.
world that is full of opportunities and joy that we believe in. And remember, I mean, Mahima also have reminded us several times that even the richest investors in the world would say that an investment in yourself is the best investment that you can ever make in your life. So with that, everyone, thank you again, and thank you, Mahima, once again. And with that, we would like to leave you with this quote from Dolly Parton, that if your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. Thank you so much, Rosella, for watching us live. Thank you, and God
Thank
bless all.
you. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye for now.